And Donald Trump is sending his border czar to Minnesota after the fatal shooting of another US citizen by ICE over the weekend. And we'll start there now because some Republicans are now calling for an investigation into ICE tactics in Minnesota after the fatal shooting of an American citizen. The White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said this morning that dangerous rhetoric against ICE agents is causing violent incidents across the US. But she claimed today the fatal shooting of Alex Pretty was a tragedy which Donald Trump doesn't want to see again.
President Trump does not want any Americans to lose their lives in the streets of America and in American communities across the country. He believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President Trump.
So as I said, the White House has announced today that US Border Czar Tom Homan will be taking over immigration enforcement operations in Minnesota. Mark Stone has more now.
Tom Homan was designated the immigration czar, the border czar, by Donald Trump at the beginning of his administration about a year ago. And he has done a lot in order to sort out the immigration, the illegal immigration, the crossing of so many people over the southern border. He, though, over the course of the past few months has been somewhat sidelined. There's a bit of a power struggle going on in the White House, and Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, has taken the lead role in terms of what's been going on here in Minneapolis and in some other Democratic parts of the country as well. Her sort of way of dealing with things has been very overt power, pressure, and kind of theatre, some might say, when it comes to the way that ICE agents have been dealing with things in places like Minnesota. Tom Homan, he is a hardliner when it comes to immigration, but less of an ideologue. He has been in immigration for a very long time, his whole career. He works in the Obama administration, and while his views on sorting out, cracking down on immigration are in line with Trump, of course they are, Tom Homan is more of a sort of practical operator. And so I think the fact that he is being inserted into this operation suggests that Donald Trump is not happy with the way things have been going.
Overseas now, a growing number of Republicans are seeking a deeper investigation into ICE tactics in Minnesota in the wake of another deadly shooting on the weekend. Donald Trump is now sending his border czar, Tom Homan, to the state to oversee the Department of Homeland Security activities. Within the past few hours, he posted on Truth Social, Governor Tim Walz called me, and this is Trump we're talking about here, not Homan. Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a good call and we actually seemed to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I'd have Tom Homan call him and that what we're looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. The governor very respectfully understood that, and I'll be speaking to him in the near future. He was happy that Tom Homan was going to Minnesota. Crime is way down, but both Governor Walz and I want to make it better.
Protests in Minneapolis ramping up over the weekend following the fatal shooting of a 37-year-old protester by Border Patrol agents. The White House says the man was attacking law enforcement when he was shot, but dozens of eyewitness videos are casting serious doubts on that claim. Now, a growing number of Republicans say they want answers in a rare break with President Trump.
There needs to be an independent investigation. You need trust from the American people, and so you have to have an investigation, and all of the facts should come out.
Some are going even further, suggesting it might be time for the president to start winding down the immigration crackdown.
Nobody likes feds coming into their state. And so what's the goal right now? Is it to deport every single non-U.S. citizen? I don't think that's what Americans want.
But the administration is not backing down, insisting the shooting was justified and blaming local officials for inflaming the tensions.
He became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process. These officers used their training, followed their protocols, and were in fear of their lives.
And this controversy is now having a big impact on the fight over government funding. Some Democrats are now threatening to block funding for DHS, and the clock is ticking. The feds run out of money on Saturday night.
Speaker Johnson needs to bring the House back in. There's a tough issue that he has to deal with.
President Trump says he's sending border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota for a first-hand report of the situation there.
Joining me live is former White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. Mick, there certainly seems to be growing backlash from where I sit. Is that countrywide, though, or just limited to Minnesota?
Whether or not it's countrywide is always difficult to say, but it is broad-based. Laura, there is no question about it. The administration has been getting pounded on its handling of the Minneapolis situation, going back to the killing of Renee Good about 10 days ago. So this is a dramatic change. I thought your correspondent did a nice job of sort of laying out the history of it and the power struggles. Probably an overstatement, but there's still a lot of tension between Tom Homan as the border czar, which is not a formal position in our government, and Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, which is a formal position. So what I think your correspondent missed was the specific indication from Donald Trump that Tom Homan would answer directly to the White House and bypass the Department of Homeland Security. That tells me that Donald Trump is not happy with the way things are running. I think Kristi Noem has done a pretty good job in the last 48 hours of changing her tone, but keep in mind, she did come out and call Renee Good a domestic terrorist in the minutes after her killing, and then made sort of equally aggressive statements about Mr. Pretty, who was assassinated in the video that you're seeing here now. So he's not happy. And I think there's a reason for that, because it's not being well received at all by the population.
Yeah, really interesting that you say that, because Kristi Noem and the description and the doubling down after these two shootings now, in the subsequent hours and days, more footage inevitably comes out. And what she has described, I think any reasonable person would really question.
That's exactly right. I mean, and you and I talked about this on the Good shooting 10 days ago, which is the legalities are one thing. Was the officer legally justified in discharging the weapon? Maybe we'll get an investigation, I hope, and we'll know the answer to that question. But most people don't care about that. They care about what it looks like. And it's not just the optics. Does it look right? Does it look fair? Does it violate some common sense? And the answer is yes. It does. When a law enforcement officer in this country shoots an unarmed civilian on his knees in the back several times, people want to sort of raise their hand and say, okay, no, that's enough. We're stopping now. You had me up until that particular point, but now it's different. So I think that the Trump administration recognizes that. I thought Kristi's tone the last 40 hours was pretty good. But in this day and age, Laura, as you and I both well known, as soon as you say one thing, it's on the internet forever. They've been struggling with some of the messaging they put out in the minutes after the shooting. And it looks like Tom Homan is going to be called in to try and fix the situation without Kristi Noem's direct involvement.